Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro, coming at you live on a Thursday, coronavirus Thursday. Boy, it's hard to believe we've been at this for 3 weeks, broadcasting literally from my kitchen in my apartment. It's crazy, man. It's nuts. But we're still doing it because we believe it's important. It's important to share with you the latest information on this coronavirus, and we want to hear from you. Maybe, hopefully, at some point during the show, give you a few laughs. That's why we're doing this. And we got a big show lined up for you. We got a lot to get to. We're going to talk about Sisolak's new order that he spoke about yesterday, which I'm actually going to disagree with Steve Sisolak on this one when it comes to some of what he said. We'll get to that in a little bit. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, you're not going to believe, or maybe you will, because the man I'm talking about, Bill O'Reilly, is a sexist. He's a sexual... you want to call it sexual misconduct, whatever you want to call it. The guy is just a scumbag, and that's why he was fired from Fox News. You're not going to believe what he said on Sean Hannity's show yesterday, or like I said, maybe you will. Utterly disgusting. We'll go over Donald Trump's press conference a little bit later in the program. You guys heard about this? Professional gamblers are now filing for unemployment. We'll get to that coming up in hour number 3. And, you know, we've been saying a lot of positive things about the Vegas Golden Knights. The fact that they've donated, I think, somewhere around $1 million, Foley and his crew, which is a great thing. Then why are the workers not being paid? Why many of the workers not being paid yet? We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. If you have unemployment questions, if you're wondering when the economy will reopen, we have John Johnson on the line. He's an economist and CEO of Edgeworth Analytics. And lastly, if you had to think to yourself, who is the biggest guest anybody could get right now on their show, whether it be radio or TV? I can't say who it is, but think about the biggest possible guest that we could land on this show. I can't say who it is right now, but there is at least a 50-50 chance that we could be getting an absolute enormous guest coming up later in the show, hour number 3. So we're going to continue to monitor that. I don't want to say it yet and let people down because it might not happen, but we're going to keep our eyes open on this. We could be getting a monster guest coming up in hour number 3. So I want to start with Governor Steve Sisolak because I thought he did the right thing by closing down the casinos and non-essential businesses. But at that point, you know, the parks were still open, the tennis courts were still open, the golf courses were still open.
Right.
And now he's extended this, you know, to golf courses. Now they all have to be closed. Sports venues, self-serve food, which I agree with that.
Large family Easter dinners.
No haircuts at home, which I find to be a little bit strange. Large church gatherings or synagogue gatherings, or I'm okay with that. Here's where I disagree with what he's doing here, okay? And by the way, my opinion on this has zero to do with the economy. A lot of these golf courses are going to be just fine. Let me start with the golf courses. Anybody who plays golf knows you're not around more than 10 people when you're playing golf. At the very most, you're around 4 people, and you're not always next to them. You could take different carts. You don't have to be within 6 feet. In fact, if I wanted to play golf today, if the course were open, and by the way, I wanted to play tomorrow. I'm pissed off. I'm going to go out there by myself, and I'm not going to be around anybody. When you play a round of golf, you don't have to be around anybody. You're by yourself outside. You have to have one person in the pro shop. You have to have one person dealing with the carts. That's it. You don't have to have the restaurant open. You don't even have to have the driving range open. And I'm saying this so people can stay sane. And I say the same thing about these parks. Okay? You can't close down these tennis courts. What person gathers 10 people to play tennis? You play 10. If you're playing doubles, you play with 4 people. If you're playing singles, it's with 2 people. Why is Steve Sisolak closing down the frickin' tennis courts and the golf courses? It makes no sense to me at all. This is not about money. This is about people's sanity.
Exactly.
This is sanity.
Vegas has turned into the least fun state or city probably in the United States right now with these new strict guidelines. The craziest part is Nevada has the 28th most cases of this in the country, Brian. were doing an outstanding job of mitigating this risk and taking away the ability for any. I mean, you know what his excuse? You know what he said for the haircuts? He said, "I haven't got my hair cut in 6 weeks. You can wait too." Are you joking me? Is that a joke? How do you have any type of saying into whether I want to get my hair cut or not? And are the chances of me getting a haircut from a woman, typically most of the time, if it's a in-service, a home in-service haircut, it's going to be a female. Females are much less affected by this virus than men. There's 2,300 cases in the entire state, probably 1,700 in Las Vegas. There's 2.3 million people in the metropolitan area. What are the chances that I'm going to get the coronavirus from someone who is under the age of 75 or 70 who's cutting my hair at home?
This is what Sisolak said, and I agree with you. Sisolak said he was adding the restrictions because some people have created an unnecessary risk by trying to circumvent the rules he's already put in place, and said other restrictions were designed to cut down on the amount of time people spent next to others. Let me reiterate what I just said, and that is this. If you're on a golf course by yourself, you're not putting anybody at risk. There's a few people that are going to have to be there. One person in the pro shop, one person helping you out with carts and that sorts of thing. You're not putting people at risk with that, number one. Number two, if you want to play tennis, maybe you and a friend want to go to the park and play tennis. It's you and your friend. You're 50 feet away from them. It makes zero sense at all. And look, this isn't about money. Let me reemphasize this.
Right.
I am not saying this because of money. I am saying this for one reason and one reason only, and that is for the mental health of these people. And by the way, it has those health benefits. If someone wants to get a little cardio and play tennis, even someone who maybe doesn't exercise that much, to be able to go out on a golf course and move around a little bit is mentally healthy.
Or a basketball court or a
basketball's different.
Well, not if there's 10 players, obviously.
Yeah,
not if it's 5-on-5. But
can't have
how often do you see 5-on-5 at one of these courts? You do
all the time.
I've never seen 5-on-5.
Okay,
I've seen 3-on-3 on a pretty consistent
and
basis.
And that's 6 people right next to each other. That's completely different. And that's why they took down all the hoops in Las Vegas,
which they did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's the right thing.
Right.
I am okay with that. We are not. You can't have police officers driving around policing basketball games. That's a waste of time. I do agree with that. But golf is completely different. Tennis is completely different. This is now getting out of control. If someone gets a coronavirus test and they're negative and they want to go to their friend's house and cut somebody's hair, they should absolutely have the right to do that. I completely hold on. I completely think the governor is making a mistake here and he's overreacting. Let me open up the phone lines. Let me just open up the phone lines real quick.
Okay.
Let me give out the number. 702-257-5396. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. I ask you this question. Do you think the governor has overreacted here? I've been okay with everything the governor has had until now. What do you think? 702-257-5396.
I think this is turning into a gubernatorial power trip, to be honest with you. I am very, very surprised that, considering the fact that where the cases sit right now in Nevada and Las Vegas. And think about this, Brian. What about those people? Right now, there are 22 million people in the United States that are battling addiction. They can't go to AA. They're doing all their AA. They're not doing in-person meetings. You know, these in-person meetings that have helped them stay sober, they can't go to those anymore. They have to do Zoom meetings now. What about those people? I mean, what are the chances, do you think, that under these very stressful conditions, I'm talking where you can't go anywhere. You can't go to the gym. You can barely go to the park. You can't get your hair cut. You absolutely there's no sports to watch. You can't hang out with your friends, whether you're male or female. There's no way to relieve your stress. What are the chances that those people who are sitting by themselves at home are going to relapse on that addiction? Because back where I'm from, Omaha, Nebraska, in the last week, 3 people I know have relapsed on opioids and they've died. And two of them made statements before this happened. But 2 of them were unable to go to in-person AA meetings. And you look at the math, the 60,000 people that Fauci is predicting that die. Okay, let's say right now, Brian, there are 25,000 deaths in the United States due to the flu. Let's say 62,000 die of the coronavirus, and that number gets to 30. We'll have a collective between the COVID crisis and the flu, about 92,000 deaths. In 2018, there were 81,000 flu deaths. What was shut down? Absolutely nothing. Right now, there's a chance that 20 million people get unemployed, Brian. They just had to put another $2.3 million, the Federal Reserve did, into the economy. I mean, what's going on right now, to me, is really starting to become questionable. And now you have Anthony Fauci saying that we can't even shake hands for the rest of our lives. So, a little odd to me, Brian.
Well, like I said, I disagree with what the governor did yesterday, and we want to hear from you. What do you think about Governor Sisolak's new order? Golf courses, all sports venues, including tennis courts, are going to be shut down. No self-serve food, which I'm okay with that. No large groups, in church gatherings or synagogue gatherings. I'm okay with that. But this idea where somebody can't go to a home and cut somebody's hair, to me, is completely ridiculous. That number to call again if you want to be a part of the conversation, 257-5396. Let's start off with Dylan. Dylan, you're first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Dylan?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
Just like to say that I believe Governor Sisolak is carrying out a complete overreach of power. And I don't see the problems with banning haircuts, closing golf courses. I can see the larger groups, basketball courts, that makes a little more sense. Tennis courts, no. 2 people, 4 people max. Golf courses, I've never seen more than 4 guys on a hole at a time. Normally they're driving at least 2 carts apart. I don't understand why we are being so restricted. It makes no sense to me. And
I think there's a difference between overly cautious and then just being ridiculous. I think Sisolak now has crossed the line, and I think he's being a little ridiculous. I'm perfectly okay with everything else he's done. And, yes, we both agree that the basketball courts are completely different than, say, a golf course or a tennis court. But what's next? I mean, what do you think is next, Dylan? What do you think is next up for Governor Sisolak? What is he going to say now? We can never leave our apartment and all the supermarkets are going to close?
Or maybe pull us out of our homes if we have the disease so that we don't affect any other people. The thing is, Brian, the positive testing rate for the entire state of Nevada is almost 9%. That means there's not a lot of asymptomatic cases. This isn't New York City. This isn't New Jersey where it's 40%. It's not the case. There's not a lot of population density here.
So Dylan,
the worry is that we're going to beat New York, but that's just not going to happen. And I don't understand how the governor doesn't understand that.
Dylan, what are you doing to pass the time? How are you dealing with this?
Fortunately, I'm still working. I work for a production landscape company, and I'm an area manager. So we have not laid anybody off other than a few of the office staff, which are like our salespeople and our designers, because they're not allowed to go out and meet with people, but everybody else is still working.
Well, we're glad that
the problem I see is new permitted work for us. They're not issuing permits down at the permit office. So
right.
They say they're open. You can do online permits and whatnot. So basically, we've got enough work to keep us busy. But if we're not,
well, you're one of the lucky ones. You're one of the lucky ones, Dylan. Well, I appreciate your call, my friend. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dylan.
Stay safe out there. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Carl. Carl, you're next on the Vegas Take.
What's up, Carl?
Yeah. Hi, guys. I hope this call finds you in good health, both mentally and physically. So maybe I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, in regard to playing golf and so forth, I think people aren't going to lose their physical abilities if they can't do it for another couple of weeks. That's not going to hurt them physically, their muscles.
Well, that's what I've told my girlfriends in the past, that I'm going to lose my physical abilities if we don't do it for a few weeks. That's what I've told them, and it seemed to work. Actually, it seemed to work in my benefit. Carl, I'm sorry, horrible joke. Go ahead.
One more quick point. I mentioned last week to you that why I think Trump is pushing this drug every single day, every single press conference, because of financial gains. And I get a lot of people saying that's ridiculous. Well, I found out that one of his, what do you call them?
Trust. He's got a trust.
Funds, has a investment in a French company who produces the major majority of that drug.
Well, Carl, I'm glad you brought that up.
Do you know how big that investment is, Carl?
Well, I'm glad Carl brought that up, because the president was asked about that at the end of his press conference yesterday, and we're going to bring you his answer. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that, Carl. He gives a very interesting answer. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. I believe Michelle is next. Michelle, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Michelle?
Yeah, Sisolak is out of order for sure. People need to get out. They have all of us under like what you could compare to house arrest. We need to exercise. If they shut it down, you need to get out anyway. Get a handball and play against the wall. Do something to exercise your body and your lungs. So this is inappropriate. Now, I have deep concerns about Fauci and that Lady Deborah. I've done some research, and the gig is up. Guess what? These people are like globalists. They're connected to the
Gates.
Rockefellers. I saw a picture from 2001. Fauci standing right there next to George Soros.
Okay, now hold on a second. No, wait.
No, there's actually there's a lot of proof that Fauci is connected to not only Hillary Clinton,
so what?
but Bill Gates,
so
Soros.
what?
I'm echoing what she's saying. I'm saying she's not incorrect.
Michelle, who cares? The bottom line, they've been scientists and doctors for decades. So what? Donald Trump used to hang out with the pedophile who recently committed suicide, Epstein. I don't hear you talking about that. And you know what? I got
now, what I want to say about President Trump. I do want to continue to see him daily because he is large. And
so you want to see Trump?
Personality.
He's doing really well too.
He's not boring.
Okay, so let me, Michelle, let me.
And he's continuing. He's considering pardoning the Tiger King.
No, it's important for us to hear from our president at these press conferences.
All right, can I respond now to you, Michelle? Are you still there? We dropped Michelle. Okay, wonderful. I was going to ask Michelle a question, but I didn't get a chance to. She said a lot of things there in that phone call that I wanted to respond to. Number one, she said, Donald Trump, he's entertaining. It is not the president's job to be entertaining. We are not talking about a press conference where he should be getting ratings and entertaining people. We're talking about somebody who should be giving out important information and being presidential, being a leader. So when you bring up entertaining, that is completely absurd. That's not the president's job, number one. Okay. Number two, you're going after both of these doctors. You're going after Fauci. These people have been doing this for decades and decades. Of course they know the Clintons. They know all the presidents that they've worked for. I'm sure they know the Bush family very well also. So what? Does that mean they're not good at their job because they knew the Clintons? Again, I bring up the logic. Does that mean, because Donald Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein, does that mean Donald Trump is a pedophile? Of course not. Of course not. So this garbage that the right, that you want to go after these doctors who are doing the great work, I'm offended by that. You bring your bias somewhere else. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Steele. Steele, you're next on the Vegas Take.
What's up, Steele?
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is our governor certainly is a bully. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's all you wanted to say? Our governor is a bully. Okay. Why is he a bully? If you're going to call up and you're going to call the governor a name, tell me why you think he's a bully. I don't think the governor is a bully.
You don't think telling someone that, the one statement he made was basically dictatorial. He said, and I quote, Brian, I haven't got a haircut in 6 weeks, so you can wait too.
I don't know if
you don't think that's a bit of a bully statement?
Is that a word, dictatorial?
Yes, it is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
well, I would say the president has done a lot of those things as well. You could
This
say
is not about Donald Trump.
Dictatorial.
This is not about. This is about Steve Sisolak, Brian.
I think he's done a good job, as I've mentioned.
No, I think that shutting things down when he did obviously has mitigated the risk. But then again, we're not New York City. We don't have a major public transit system.
I think he's overreacting.
We don't live on top of each other. It's almost like he's trying every time he sees even 50 to 75 cases, he's trying to get that number down to zero, and that's just not going to take place. It's just not going to happen. You look at the numbers. It's 23, 18, and 80 deaths.
I wouldn't say it's dictatorial. I would say that he's overreacting and he's taking it a little bit too far, and I disagree with him. 702-257-5396. Alan, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Alan?
I'd like to say this. I believe the governor has our best interests at heart, but the last time I checked, the Constitution was still intact. I have the right to peaceably assemble. Now, I won't do that right now because from what we're being told, it's the prudent thing to do so that we don't pass on this disease to others. But I will tell the governor this: if he crosses the line and continues to exert what he calls executive authority.
Alan, I have to interject. What is your position? What would he do to cross the line, in your opinion?
All right. Well, when this disease is no longer a threat and he continues. In other words, we flatten the curve. But he says to the population of the state of Nevada, well, we flattened the curve, but it still might be out there. It might be coming back this
No, Alan, I hear you. I don't think, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think he's going to do that. I think when the virus is not, at least I hope, I think when the virus is not a threat, I'm going to have a little bit of faith in our governor that he's not going to do that. I hope I'm right on that. And if I'm wrong, then you're right.
I agree with you. I don't think he will either. But I'm just reminding everybody that the Constitution is still intact. And if any legislator ever crosses the line, then that's when we speak up and say, no, I don't think so. So that's my opinion.
Well, listen, I agree with you. And, again, I have a little bit more faith in our governor. I don't think he's going to do that. As you know, we are hitting a lot of peaks in a lot of different areas.
I gave him credit last week for what he did. But, again, this is way over the top, in my opinion, Brian.
Well,
and it just isn't necessary because, again, we have the 28th most cases in the United States.
Not everything is over the top. I'll give him credit for some of those things. I mean, self-serve food should not be going on in the supermarkets. I don't want people coughing all over the food that I might be getting. So I agree with him there. I agree that most sports venues should be closed. People shouldn't be playing basketball in men's basketball league. Kids shouldn't be playing, sports, soccer, what have you. However, there are some exceptions, like we talked about the tennis courts, the golf courses. So some of this I agree with. And by the way, the large church gatherings or synagogue gatherings or whatever religion you have, I agree with him there also.
What about large family Easter dinners?
Well, here's the problem I have with that, with a large family Easter dinner.
And we're talking what?
How many people are we talking about?
Probably anywhere from, I would guess, maybe 8 to 15.
Well, that's irresponsible. You shouldn't be doing that. So I agree with him. You shouldn't be having 8 to 15 people over your house. At these times, that's irresponsible. We got to take a quick break. And when we come back, you're not going to believe what Bill O'Reilly said on Sean Hannity's show yesterday, proving why I always call Bill O'Reilly a scumbag. We have the audio to prove it. Coming up next, you're listening to The Vegas Take.